Okay, hi everyone. Today I'm going to be talking about the Zoll R Series, which does defibrillation, cardioversion, and transcutaneous pacing. This is at most hospitals and allows for those functions. So this is used for ACLS. Any additional supplies you may need are the ambulatory bag, intubation equipment, staff for the intubation, backboard suction. And if you're doing the intubation, make sure you give 50 micrograms fentanyl and 2 milligrams midazolam, and you need to consult anesthesia or ICU team to do the intubation. In emergency situations, you can use dilaudid 1 to 2 milligrams and lorazepam for alternatives. And then next thing you want to do is, before you do this, you want to remove all clothing and remove any hair, and then you want to place the pads in this position, one on the right upper chest and then one on the left below the chest. And then if there's a failure to capture, so in that case, you want to increase the output. That's this knob right here, and make sure the pads are in the correct location and avoiding any bony structures. And if there's a failure to sense, then this happens with synchronous pacing. So then you can switch to asynchronous pacing. That's a button, I think, over here. But yeah, so anyways, the three functions: defibrillation, synchronized cardioversion, transcutaneous pacing. So defibrillation is used for pulseless VT or VFib. Synchronized cardioversion is used for unstable SVT or VT. Transcutaneous pacing is used for unstable bradycardia. So for all these functions, you want to first turn the selector switch to on. That's right here. And then you can press manual to change to ALS. But there's different modes here. So this is the pacer mode, and then there's the defibrillator mode here. And when you switch to defibrillator mode, you can press this button right here, and it's a sync button, and it'll turn to synchronized cardioversion. So those are the three modes. And so for defibrillation, first thing you want to do is you want to set the default energy selection to 120 joules. The initial dose is 120 joules to 200 joules, and you press charge as soon as you can. And like as soon as there's a shockable rhythm, you press charge, and then you continue the CPR while it's charging, and then the defibrillator will like blink red and then shout clear. In that case, you like everyone removes hands from the patient, and then you shock, and then you resume the CPR after the shock has been delivered, and you do a pulse and rhythm check after 2 minutes and iterate if necessary. And then you have synchronized cardioversion, in which case it's the different shocks are indicated based on their rhythm, and the different values are listed here. So for narrow regular, you do 50 to 100. For narrow irregular, it's 120 to 200. For wide regular, it's 100. For wide irregular, it's 150 to 200. And another thing is it'll show you a down arrow when it's going to place the shock. And you press charge on the front panel and ensure the patient is clear. And the patient is going to be clear because the rhythm will be shocked every couple seconds, so you don't want to do CPR or anything like that. But okay, after you do this synchronized cardioversion, anticoagulation is needed for 4 weeks. And another thing is that for transcutaneous pacing, you change this to pacer mode, and then you set the pacer rate to a rate that's 20 beats higher than the patient's intrinsic heart rate. And then you want to increase the pacer output until the pace beats demonstrate capture, and it's displayed on the screen. The capture means that there's a widened QRS complex and the loss of the underlying rhythm. And you want to confirm the capture by pulse check and observing the contraction with ultrasound. And then you can set the pacer output to the lowest setting that maintains a consistent capture. And you want to go ahead and refer for a permanent pacemaker, so you want to refer to cardiology. But that is the pacemaker Zoll R Series.